both. I would say both. I think the feed-in tariff, unfortunately, due to issues in certain parts of Europe, have already hit a problem in terms of the integrity of governments to deliver on promises. There are special circumstances surrounding some of those changes in political routes when it came to supporting the feed-in tariff, which is too lengthy to try and develop now as a point. How, nevertheless, investors and banks are very nervous of feed-in tariffs, and to a great extent in the United Kingdom, these are now being switched off anyway. And so I don't think feed-in tariffs have strong resonance with lenders and investors. However, I think even more important is the technology. Bankers and investors price for risk. If technology is not understood, or what was thought to be understood turns out to be different to what was understood, then investors price up. And the proportion of debt that you can then put into a project is much lower compared to the equity that needs to go in, and the resultant cost of that then makes the project economically unviable. And so you go around in a circle. I think there are certain geographical places in the world where renewable energy makes more sense. If you have the deserts of Saudi Arabia or North Africa, and you put many hundreds of square miles of mirrors to attract the rays of the sun, I think, and the sun is 364 out of 365 days, and you can capture the power and so on and so forth. It makes a lot more sense. The UK, we had a social conscience, so we tried putting solar panels on houses. The sun doesn't shine in my country. Which politician thought it would be a great idea to put the solar panels, the solar power at the heart of our energy policy? You know, in my view, was crazy. But he had a very good social conscience, so I'm very proud of him. And so on and so forth. So these are the issues.
Mr. Carić, do you share these views, and what are your feelings on the technology and the finance of renewables?
Compared to Mr. Cohen, I'm a fundamentalist. I was just contemplating when he was speaking that there is a no green party in Serbia. If there was one, I would be probably a very vivid supporter. But then, as he moved towards the end of his discussion, I was actually thinking of creating a green party in Serbia and being one of the people who would actually start the movement. No, I think that renewables is something that we need to invest to. I fully buy that the technology is still not reliable. But then we are going into the chicken and the egg discussion. I mean, if we don't invest enough into the technology, the technology is not developed. So we have to break this circle. As far as I'm concerned, I would make it a law that in Serbia we would need to invest only in renewable energy projects. We have quite high capacities, theoretically speaking. Now it's yet to be proven, obviously, and there are certain potential shortfalls there. But 4.3 million tons of oil equivalent can be produced out of biomass and biogas alone in Serbia. And if we know that we import a bit over 2 million tons per year, and it's the largest import item where we spend most of our current account deficit for, then we come to a very interesting conclusion that by investing into biomass and biogas, we can actually turn a couple of things around: our current account deficit and the strategy of our energy in Serbia. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no doubt we have 480 megawatt capacity of mini hydro plants, which is quite important, etc., etc. Not to talk about wind, where we already have projects of 300-400. Now, feed-in tariffs is the way by the country, by the regulator, how to help for those projects to spawn. Obviously, IFI funding that we do rely on, and I'm looking at EIB and KfW and GGF are obviously funding lines which are going to support us bankers to actually transfer those cheaper funding lines to the end users. So all those things put together create an environment where investment into renewable energy projects are viable and do make sense. One thing that I'm a bit wary of is the reliability of feed-in tariffs. We've got burned in a couple of countries, including Czech Republic, on solar. I'm faithful that in Serbia this will not be the case.